This video will show you how to coat your AR-15 lower receiver or other gun parts with Brownell's Alumahide 2 aerosol. Here are the tools and materials you will need. Your lower receiver or other gun parts that have been cleaned and dried. A 1/4 inch bolt to install into the lower receiver's pistol grip hole. It should be 28 thread pitch and about 4 inches long to provide a good handle for turning the lower receiver. Brownell's TCE Cleaner Degreaser, which will remove any remaining oils from the part before spraying. Brownell's Alumahide 2 in whatever color you have chosen. Disposable gloves to keep your non-spraying hand from getting coated with Alumahide 2. Optionally, you can use a heat gun or hair dryer to speed up the time between coats. If you intend to oven cure, you will need an oven preheated to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Put one rack to the top position and remove all others if you plan to hang the parts. Test the fit of your parts prior to heating the oven and starting work. You will also need a way to hang the part in the oven, and I'm using a binder clip for that purpose. I'll also use a piece of aluminum foil as a heat shield in the oven between the parts and the heating element. The first thing we will do is figure out a way to hold and turn the part without touching the surfaces that will be coated. In the case of this AR-15 lower receiver, the 1/4 inch bolt will do the trick. The next step is to make sure everything is ready before we start. This means preheating the oven, plugging in the heat gun or hair dryer, making sure the can of Alumahide 2 is thoroughly shaken up, and that both the TCE and Alumahide 2 cans have their tops removed. Note, if it is cold outside, keep all of your parts and aerosol products inside until you are ready to spray so they stay warm, and then bring them back inside to re-warm between coats. Now go outside in a well-ventilated area and spray the part with TCE. The TCE is very volatile and will flash off fairly quickly, but you can speed the process by use of a heat gun. Here you can see a makeshift holder for this circular part that is just some pieces of masking tape used as a handle. Once you are sure the part is dry and free of TCE, you can spray the first coat of Alumahide 2. Even though I shook the can up, the first spray that came out was clear liquid and not the matte black. This is why it is a good idea to test spray away from your part. It's also a good idea to purchase extra fan pattern spray nozzles from Brownell's, as these can become clogged, which did happen while I was spraying this receiver. The part number is 084179005. Keep the spray nozzle about a foot from the receiver when spraying. Start with the tougher areas to reach, such as the fire control group pocket, receiver threading, under receiver trigger area, and the front of the receiver. The sides of the receiver are the easiest to coat, so save them for last. Do not spray too heavily, as we will be making 4 light coats in total. After the initial coat, allow the receiver a few minutes to flash off. You can use the heat gun or hair dryer to gently warm the surfaces to help speed the process, but don't go too hot or too close to the receiver. After the surface has flashed, repeat the process again for a second light coat. Start with the same nooks and crannies before finishing with the 2 sides. I have found Alumahide 2 is fairly forgiving when it comes to runs, so don't try to wipe the receiver if you get one. Just let it dry slowly without heat and it should fade away. Subsequent coats will help cover any minor variations. Repeat the process a 3rd and 4th time as needed. The final coats will be giving the surface its finished look, and you may not even need to spray the unseen areas such as the magwell and fire control group pocket. Focus on a smooth spraying for the final coat, as the receiver should already be fully covered by now. Allow the final coat to flash naturally without the use of a heat gun or hair dryer. Pull the nozzle from the spray can and soak it in some acetone to clean it out, otherwise it can clog up. Finally, we are ready to bake the receiver for 1 hour at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Fair warning, this will smell up the house for a few hours. Not terrible, but won't smell like fresh baked cookies either. Being very careful not to let the receiver touch anything, especially in the oven, clip the 1/4 inch bolt to the top rack. Make very sure the clip is secure so the receiver doesn't fall. I also use a piece of aluminum foil to act as a heat shield between the heating element and the receiver. I want the receiver to cure from the heat of the oven, not from the more direct and extreme heat of the element. For the small circular part, I have improvised a piece of aluminum foil as a twist tie. Gently close the oven door and set the timer for 1 hour. After the hour is up, shut the oven off, but leave the parts in the oven for another hour so the heat comes down gently. After that hour is up, I carefully open the oven door and allow it to sit another half hour with the door open before removing the parts. That's it! Here you can see some spotting in the coating of this cast aluminum receiver due to the clogged nozzle, but the surface itself is flat. After curing, I spray the receiver with oil, which will darken and lubricate it. Wipe off the excess with paper towels and you're ready for assembly with your parts kit. Thanks for watching, and be sure to visit the 80%s.com website for more tips, reviews of 80% lower brands, and to join our 80% lower building forum.